Lastly, hope and resilience are intertwined with the belief that democracy ultimately belongs to the people. It is a system designed to empower the collective voice, to give everyone a stake in their future. This means that no matter how daunting the challenges, there is always the possibility for renewal as long as citizens remain engaged and determined. Democracy's strength lies in its capacity to regenerate through the participation and will of its people, and that is a profound source of hope. When faced with the pressing threats to democracy, the most critical response is not despair, but decisive action. Democracy does not protect itself. It requires constant effort and engagement from its citizens. This call to action is urgent and clear. Every individual must recognize their role in safeguarding democratic values and institutions. It is a call not only to participate in elections, but to engage in the full spectrum of civic life, from holding leaders accountable to fostering community dialogue and standing up against injustice wherever it appears. The future of democracy depends on this active commitment. The first and most fundamental form of action is participation in the electoral process. Voting remains the cornerstone of democracy, the primary means by which citizens express their will and influence the direction of their government. Yet voter turnout in many democracies has declined, sometimes due to disenfranchisement, apathy, or disillusionment. This decline is dangerous because when large segments of the population abstain, it undermines the legitimacy of the democratic process and can skew outcomes toward more extreme or less representative candidates. Voting is not simply a right, it is a responsibility and a powerful tool for shaping the future. Take, for example, the historic voter mobilization efforts seen in recent elections worldwide. Grassroots campaigns have worked tirelessly to register new voters, especially among marginalized communities that have traditionally faced barriers to voting. In the United States, organizations like the League of Women Voters and Fair Fight have focused on combating voter suppression, ensuring that access to the ballot box is protected. These efforts highlight how citizen action can directly counter threats to democracy by making the system more inclusive and representative. Beyond voting, holding elected officials accountable is a vital part of this call to action. Democracy demands transparency and responsiveness from leaders, and citizens must insist on it. This means monitoring government actions, demanding honesty, and refusing to tolerate corruption or abuses of power. When officials fail to serve the public interest, citizens have the right and the duty to speak out, protest, and ultimately vote them out of office. The health of democracy depends on this ongoing cycle of accountability and renewal. A clear example of this accountability in action can be seen in the wave of protests that have swept the globe in recent years. From demands for police reform to climate justice, citizens have taken to the streets to hold governments accountable for failing to meet their responsibilities. These protests demonstrate that democracy is not confined to the ballot box. It lives in the streets, in the public square, and in every act of civic engagement that demands justice and fairness. Another crucial aspect of this call to action is combating misinformation and promoting media literacy. In an era where false information spreads rapidly online, citizens must become vigilant consumers of news and information. This involves questioning sources, verifying facts, and supporting independent journalism. The health of democracy depends on an informed electorate that can distinguish truth from falsehood. Efforts to improve media literacy through education, community programs, and responsible media practices are essential in building resilience against manipulation and deception. Communities also play a fundamental role in this call to action. Democracy flourishes when citizens engage with their neighbors, participate in local decision-making, and work together to solve common problems. Local governance, school boards, community organizations, and civic groups are vital arenas where democracy is practiced daily. Encouraging participation at the local level not only strengthens democracy, but also builds social trust and cooperation, which are essential for addressing broader national challenges. For instance, neighborhood associations or town hall meetings provide opportunities for citizens to voice concerns, propose solutions, and hold local officials accountable. When people come together to improve their communities, they foster a sense of shared purpose and collective responsibility. These local actions ripple outward, reinforcing democratic norms and values at every level of society. Moreover, defending the rights and voices of marginalized groups is an essential part of the democratic call to action. Democracy cannot be truly representative or just if segments of the population are excluded or silenced. Citizens must stand in solidarity with those whose rights are threatened and work to dismantle barriers to full participation. This includes advocating for fair voting laws, equal access to education and healthcare, and protections against discrimination. The global struggle for democracy offers numerous examples of citizens stepping up to defend rights in the face of oppression. In places where authoritarianism threatens freedom, people risk their safety to demand democratic reforms, fair elections, and respect for human rights. These courageous acts inspire us all to take responsibility for protecting democracy wherever it is endangered. Finally, the call to action includes fostering a culture of respect, empathy, and dialogue across differences. Democracy is not about uniformity, but about unity through diversity. Citizens must strive to listen, understand opposing views, and seek common ground. This doesn't mean abandoning principles or tolerating injustice. It means engaging respectfully with others to build bridges rather than walls. The resilience of democracy depends on this ability to hold together a diverse society through mutual respect and shared commitment to democratic values. As we confront the profound challenges facing democracy today, it is essential not only to warn of the dangers, but also to articulate a clear and inspiring vision for the future. This vision is not simply an abstract ideal, it is a roadmap rooted in the values that define democracy: freedom, equality, justice, and opportunity for all. A democratic future requires a recommitment to these principles and a deliberate effort to build systems and societies that reflect them in tangible ways. It demands that we imagine what a thriving, resilient democracy looks like in the 21st century and then work tirelessly to realize that vision. At the heart of this vision is the idea of a democracy that is more inclusive and participatory than ever before. The traditional models of democracy, which often centered on periodic elections and representative governance, must evolve to incorporate broader citizen engagement at all levels. This means empowering communities to have a direct say in the decisions that affect their lives through mechanisms like participatory budgeting, citizen assemblies, and open forums for dialogue. Such inclusive governance strengthens trust, makes policies more responsive, and ensures that diverse voices shape the future. For example, in countries such as Iceland and Canada, citizens have been invited to participate in national dialogues and constitutional reform processes through citizen assemblies. These forums bring together randomly selected members of the public to deliberate on key issues, offering a powerful way to deepen democratic engagement and build consensus on contentious topics. By expanding opportunities for direct participation, democracy becomes more than a system of government. It becomes a shared project where every person's voice matters. Equally important to this vision is the pursuit of equity. True democracy cannot exist alongside vast disparities in wealth, opportunity, and access to resources. A democratic future must address economic inequality by ensuring that all citizens have the means to participate fully in society. This includes access to quality education, healthcare, and economic opportunities. When people are trapped in poverty or excluded from the benefits of progress, democracy is weakened because it fails to represent the full spectrum of its people. Consider the ways in which some nations have begun to tackle these challenges through policies that promote social safety nets, progressive taxation, and investments in public services. Countries that prioritize social equity tend to have healthier democracies because their citizens feel that the system works for them. The vision for the future is one where economic justice and political democracy go hand in hand, where no one is left behind or shut out of the democratic process because of their economic status. Another critical element of this vision is the protection and strengthening of democratic institutions. Future democracies must be built on a foundation of rule of law, separation of powers, and independent oversight. These institutions must be resilient to political pressure, corruption, and manipulation. Strengthening judicial independence, protecting free and independent media, and ensuring transparent governance are essential steps toward a democracy that can withstand the pressures of the modern world. For example, recent reforms in countries like Germany and New Zealand have focused on enhancing institutional transparency and accountability. By increasing oversight mechanisms, protecting whistleblowers, and fostering a culture of integrity within public service, these democracies build trust and demonstrate their commitment to fairness. The vision for the future involves replicating and adapting such reforms globally to reinforce democratic norms everywhere. The role of technology in shaping the future of democracy is also a key consideration. While digital platforms have contributed to misinformation and polarization, they also offer unprecedented opportunities for engagement, transparency, and innovation in governance. Future democracies must harness technology responsibly, using it to increase access to information, facilitate participation, and improve government responsiveness. For instance, Estonia's pioneering e-governance initiatives allow citizens to vote online, access government services digitally, and participate in decision-making processes more conveniently. This kind of innovation not only modernizes democracy, but also makes it more accessible, especially for younger generations who expect technology to be integrated into all aspects of life. The vision for the future embraces technological advancement as a tool to deepen democratic practice, not undermine it. Education remains a cornerstone of this future vision. Democracies of tomorrow must invest heavily in civic education that prepares citizens not only to understand their rights and responsibilities, but also to critically engage with information and participate constructively in public discourse. This means teaching skills like media literacy, critical thinking, and empathy from an early age, fostering a culture of respect for diversity and democratic norms. Countries like Finland have been recognized for their robust civic education systems, which emphasize critical inquiry and active citizenship. Their approach offers a model for how education can equip future generations with the tools they need to sustain and renew democracy. The vision for the future includes widespread access to such educational opportunities that empower all citizens to be informed and engaged. Finally, this vision recognizes that democracy is not static. It is an ongoing process of renewal. It requires continuous effort to adapt to changing social, economic, and technological realities. It demands a commitment to dialogue, compromise, and the protection of minority rights. The democratic future we strive for is one where all people, regardless of background, belief, or status, feel a sense of ownership and responsibility for the health of their society.